Salve, welcome everybody to the Gringos Liberados podcast. I'm tripping over my words already. Haven't done this in a while, but they put me in the top left, so I have to do these intros. I'm
Gotta
here
do
with
it.
Roodood, Axeman, and Trajan. We're here for the, I guess the second to last episode. I mean, we might do one next week and kind of deep dive a little more into finals. I think that's on the docket, but maybe it's not. Who knows? We had a couple of semifinal, quote unquote, lower bracket series. And a couple of teams eliminated. But before we get into that, we're going to go kind of reading order. Roodood, how we doing? He's good. Axeman, how are you? He's great. All right. For those of you in audio land, I'm sorry. Trajan, how are
I'm
you?
not gonna join in with this. I'm not gonna just leave the audio listeners in the bin like this. I'm doing fine if anyone cares. But
Good. I
I
care.
alone care about Spotify and Apple Music, Apple Podcast viewers.
All right. Bold of you to assume we're on Apple Podcasts.
No, man.
But and Spotify actually has a
As if I don't even use iPhones
That's
and I care
tough.
about them, right? This is how
That's
generous
tough.
I can be here.
Of course,
Android
you're an
forever.
Android user. God, that makes
afraid
so
so.
much sense.
Whoa. Now hold on one second. This isn't the place to get into the Apple versus Android debate, but if you're on Apple's side, y'all need help. That's all.
All right, and
True.
with that, we're moving on. Y'all are fucking. Oh my
Is
god!
for
All right,
for the only Apple guy?
I already
The
dropped an
only
F-bomb.
Definitely an Apple
guy,
guy.
huh?
Definitely an
Yeah,
Apple
yeah,
guy.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I like my life being easy and simplified. Okay.
Sounds like somebody
expensive.
who's been brainwashed. I'm gonna be honest.
Apple drone
Yeah.
alert.
I just hate headphones. Like I genuinely hate headphones. I really enjoy having to buy separate equipment to be able to listen
Yeah.
to music.
Me
Like,
too. Me too.
That's
Y'all are okay. Okay, we're not gonna
Make
do
it
this right now.
$800.
You
We're
can
not.
say we're not going to do it all you want, mate, but we're going to
just so
keep
you
doing
know,
it.
Dia's
Ju-
cut. Our
just so you know,
producer,
for
by the
what
way,
it's worth,
Dia
you're
is
not alone
producing.
for-
He's just
for- yeah.
100% cut all of this out of the edit. It's gone.
Okay, Dia's in my ear and he's got my. All right, look.
Yeah.
I'm going to assume your takes aren't going to be as trash if we talk about the CBLOL playoffs because that's something we usually
Oh, no.
think.
Yeah,
They're
no.
getting worse.
Align.
They're
Oh
getting worse,
boy!
for
All
sure.
right. So
I don't know. Axeman told me Furia were making finals, and he's on
Bro,
the show.
I had
so...
my
Yeah.
He-Dance better than Robo take on the docket on the books as well. So you know
It's
we've
all
all made
uphill from
mistakes this year. We've all made mistakes.
yeah, no, but speaking of, actually, no, not speaking of at all. Okay, RED-INTZ. Okay, favorite moments from the past weekend. We had Red 3-1 INTZ, and then Pain almost dropping the ball in the lower bracket, but they came back and won 3-2. I will start in reverse order then, because Trajan's the only one that obliged my question. Trajan, what was your favorite moment from this past weekend?
My favorite moment from the past weekend, I think it might have been as far a specific moment. I think I really enjoyed Ninja Kiwi's game 2 versus Red on the Kaiser, where he didn't get a pentakill like Titan got later, but he looked so good in that game. I called it out at the time. This was Renska Ninja Kiwi returning to our screens.
Yes.
And he was like perfectly out microing every fight, committing with the ult for catches and kills on the Kaiser. He ended massively fed, was like being all the damage his team needs. That was a little bit of the Ninja Kiwi that we haven't seen that much of throughout this split because ZZK is always popping off and Nostros is doing LeBlanc things, but he's still in there, man. That Ninja Kiwi is still in there.
Hell yeah. No, and I had a lot of fun casting that game. Axe, what about you?
The FMB Aegis Hot Pot. Was that list last weekend? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that
was
was
Rumble
awesome.
Jarvan moments.
That was game 5 too, right?
I think
Yeah.
they tried it like earlier in the series and it worked great, and then they tried it later in the series and it didn't work as well.
think it
Something
was-
like that. But
yeah, game 2 or 3, and it was just insanely nuts every
Yeah.
time they dropped it.
it was huge, and it was something that obviously we haven't seen too much in the last split, and it was really exciting. So really well executed.
Yeah,
I
games
think it was
3
the
against
only
INTZ.
Jarvan, right? Like,
Nah,
have you
there's
seen another
another.
Jarvan at all split? Like, even
Yeah,
Aegis
there-
hadn't brought it out.
I
might
think
have seen
there's another
one.
one, yeah.
Maybe it
There
maybe
was-
split.
Flawless?
Yes, Flawless did play Jarvan.
Yeah.
I was gonna say.
Okay.
I knew
So we've
that.
had no
Yeah.
Jarvans. So we've had no
Yeah,
Jarvans
so
up until that point. Absolutely zero Jarvan play.
Kaboom's third best jungler did play Jarvan at some point. A small
That's
aside,
tough.
by the way. How dope is it that the 9th and 10th place CBLOL teams are the finalists for CBLOL Academy?
Mhm.
Very
So
cool.
for
Yeah.
those that
3-0'd Pain in semis.
Yeah, it's a Kaboom Liberty Finals angle, which is
Beautiful. That's gonna be
That's
fun.
very
sick.
entertaining to me.
Yep.
Anyway, my favorite moment from the weekend was seeing Red's entire season retold as a weekend, where we go from "Are we high on this team?" to "We are so back" to "Oh,
You cut out.
Oh, we lost Rude.
We lost Roodood. Your audio.
His mic imploded. Yeah,
Your
actually, I
audio.
think he
Cable
might
out.
have. But by the look of the shuffling, he might have popped off so hard for Red that he
Yeah,
unplugged his
I think
audio
he
cable.
unplugged his. Yeah.
No, but Rude's
So-
100% correct. This was
Yeah.
like
oh."
classic Red, like coin flipping games back and forth, showing that they had monumental potential to either just hard carry and win against any team or just absolutely lose. Every single game was just classic Red.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
was
I was
just wildness.
I was a little.
beep boop."
There he is. Beep
Oh,
boop.
he's back. He's beeped and booped. He's alive.
I hit my mic. It's my bad.
Yeah. It didn't appreciate it.
No, I'll leave it alone now. But thank
Okay,
you.
so,
Yeah, Axe took over my point perfectly, so
Yeah.
I'll say less.
Okay, so then I've got a question for the group then.
What was your favorite moment for Life 4?
Oh, yeah.
My favorite moment was that we got a like. I don't know if it was one moment. Okay, honestly, my favorite moment was Pain winning Game 5 because I feel bad for them because they, rightly or wrong, I'm not here to get into that conversation because it's a long and interesting one, but it's not for here unless we really want to have it. Like the fans just ate them alive after the ninth of the 9-0. And for them to like,
Yeah.
I was happy to see their mental recover because I think like to me like Pain beats Red in a 5-game series more often than they don't. But I tremendous resilience, especially also going down 2-1 like that. Like I was very happy for them. I'm a little like, okay, we get Loud Pain in the finals again. Like I don't know. Like, but on the other hand, like I don't know. It's gonna be historic either way, right? Either Loud wins again. If Pain even
I
takes one
think
game, it's historic. But like I was happy that they didn't just like puke all over themselves. Although a Loud Red final would, I think, have been
Ow.
pretty cool.
Hype. Yeah.
I have a
What
take
were you
about the
saying,
final. I don't know if that's for now or for later, but I just want everybody
Just
to know
drop
Let it
when the
rip.
time
Drop
comes.
it.
Let me know if it's
Now.
okay. It's
Just drop it.
the
Say.
only disappointing result is a 3-1 for Loud because a
It's not
3-2
cool either way.
is we get 5 games,
Yep.
right? We're chilling. 3-0 is 12-0 Keck W.
Mhm.
Yeah.
A
And
3-0,
then
a 3-0 either way or a 3-2 either way is great.
yeah,
Yeah.
but I would argue a 3-1 Pain is also like fine because
Yeah,
it's
true,
Pain
'cause they win.
upsetting the narrative, right?
Yeah.
As soon as Pain win one game, it's kind of okay.
Mhm.
But I think if Loud win 3-1, people don't care that they won one game and it's 12-1, haha, like nobody
Yeah.
cares, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. I think that's
Yeah,
a
that's true.
that's a very good take. I was kind of thinking about that. I'm like, of the gamut of outcomes that we could have, what would actually be even close to satisfactory? I mean,
Yeah.
oh gosh, okay, like okay, maybe we, if we're looking forward here, let's okay, let's talk a little bit more about the series in and of itself, and then I'll
Mm.
unleash some kind of some questions. Any thoughts on the series? I mean, let's talk about INTZ first before we go into like the full postmortem. Just in the series, was there anything we especially liked, didn't like, thought, okay, maybe this needs to change for next year? Because that series went about how I thought it would. I thought INTZ, they were good enough to take a game off of Red, whether by I think, I don't forget who said it on the desk or the cast. If it was one of you guys, I apologize. Like Red's like the only hard counter to Red is Red, or something to that effect. That they keep beating themselves, and INTZ would be good enough to punish that. And they were, and I don't know. That's about what I expected from this team. Anybody else got any spicy takes from that semi?
I enjoyed
Yeah.
FMB's performance. Got
I was happy with
Yeah.
immediately sort of thrown off by the day after because they lost. But FMB, for me, relieved some of the playoffs chokers syndrome.
I think he has. I don't think he's had a bad series.
Mm-hmm.
Even against Loud, he was like arguably the best player on that
Yep.
team.
Okay, good.
Aegis
Thank
was
you.
close, but Aegis was also a big catalyst of how they lost that third game that went just completely off the rails. So FMB popped off in that series. I think he was really good in the Pain series as well. I tweeted this at some point. His Cassante gives me hope for this region, especially the top laners,
Mhm.
because he actually plays the champion and makes it look like the champion that it is. And I think he deals well with pressure, and he can carry as well. I think he's just really good, and he didn't have a slump at the very least. Parts of this series and this split, sorry, were not as hype and as high on him as we have been in the past. Like it's not been as dominant for him. Obviously, people like Weiser and Robo stepping up in their own way, but ultimately, I don't think he choked at all, and that narrative I think has to be questioned now for sure going forward.
Yeah, yeah, and I think it's a shame that he kind of. I don't know, it's weird because like as if you're looking at this red team, like unless you're a red fan, I find it hard to kind of root for them unless you're just rooting for someone to like disrupt the power dynamic, not because of any of the players necessarily, but just because they have this kind of super team Frankenstein energy. Like between splits, like they took the championship winning roster and then they lost the solo laner, so they put in the academy boys, right? Bull and Avenger. And
Yeah.
then that went not great. And Aegis and Titan said, all right, that was horrible. F this. We want to win. Throw the money at Furia, buy out those stupid contracts, and let's do this thing. And they went up against, I mean, in so many other splits, they win the CBLOL. But Pain and Loud have been doing it, like, as far as like the core for so long together. It would have been really hard to surpass them. But on the other side, I'm kind of happy about that because it shows that continuity, at least in this sample size, will win out over chucking some pieces together and making this morbid little Mr. Potato Head doll to win your CBLOL.
That's
It
one of
it
the
does still
metaphors we
feel
could have
like
used.
if they keep it together, it does feel like it can be the best. There is so much room for this roster still. I
Yeah.
really don't want to see it blow up because we've seen what it can do in the right game, in the right scenario, with the right draft. And then, there's obviously still the mental problems that they have there and the throwing and this kind of thing, but they've also got equal amounts of clutch factor. And if I don't see Pain beating Loud, but I could see Red beating Loud, you know what I mean? They just
Yeah.
have that ceiling to get to.
Yeah.
And this split for me has been all about growth from teams like INTZ, even from teams like Loud when they get to playoffs, they're even more insane, from teams like Pain, right? We've seen them get better in so many ways. So I think growth has been the name of the game in the CBLOL these days, and if that roster stays together, they have a chance to be, another dynasty level team.
So I'll throw the question out to the group then. If you're playing, if you're playing general manager, do you keep this roster together for next split?
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, I
in
think
my
so.
I
eyes.
do, yeah. I'm worried that the narrative for a lot of these players, if they don't keep the roster together, is that the throw factor just outweighs the clutch factor for them, which really sucks because there's a lot of really cool players on this roster. I mean, like if Titan and FMB's career, this is the height of it, where they get put on a super team and they get third. Like that sucks. That's real bad because I've been touting FMB as the best domestic top laner for years now, and yeah, he's only losing to imports and Robo, but he's been losing to imports and Robo his whole career, right? So I think
it's a
if
tough
this
bar.
is just the peak for him, then that's pretty tough. So yeah, I'd definitely keep it together, but that might just be sentimental at this point.
No, I think I keep it together if nothing else because one of Loud or Pain, that roster is not going to survive the offseason. Right. And
Really?
if there is a chance to like, okay, we are just consistently hitting this ceiling that is Loud and Pain, one of those, if not both of those rosters, is going to be fundamentally changed this offseason. There's just no way it's not. I'm looking at Pain mostly. There's an opportunity there.
Expecting the 15-0 or whatever we're gonna get to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's the thing for Red. What if we just get JoJo back? What if Fluxu goes boom, which I kind of think it probably will in some way? What if we just get JoJo back? Put him back with Titan. He knows what's going on. He had a good split, and he's better and more experienced at working with Titan. He's got a deeper champion pool. He's got more experience, and I kind of think we're kind of chilling at that point. I'm just
Frosty
looking
will
at like
probably get
any
him
other
back.
supports. Yeah,
He won't. I think Frosty would probably like. Excuse me. He would probably do fine in that scenario as well. I could see a team like Liberty or Kaboom or something like ponying up for him. Hell, maybe even Fluxu if they for whatever reason they think JoJo isn't it. They swap for Frosty. I don't know why
we
they
just
would
have
do
no
that.
idea what Flux is gonna do, right? We have no
No,
idea what attitude they
No
have. It's
idea.
very hard to
Yeah.
tell.
no. If I'm
That's
Fluxu,
a
I'm building.
nightmare.
Yeah, if I'm
Yeah.
Fluxu, I'm building around JoJo and Brunsey personally because I think
Yeah, so would I. So
like you just
it's probably tough to
whatever,
pick.
and like maybe you take one more flyer on House because I still think the potential for him is so high.
Yeah.
But like
I think House is great.
that top side's got to go, man. I'm sorry.
And you switch up your top side, yeah.
All right,
Bagging
and
on
then
them.
and anything from kind of the next series. I mean, maybe we already kind of hit this, but like, yeah, Pain, Red, and then we can do kind of a bit of a deep dive post-mortem on both teams. Yeah, like I said,
Which is
for
it
me,
4x4? Is it the series or the post-mort? Make a decision.
all right. Yeah, we'll get to kind of we'll do the post-mortem. Let's stick with Red. Wrap it
Yeah.
up here. They have been eliminated. I think here's an interesting question. Is this split, and maybe I asked this to a couple of you, and I apologize if that's the case.
This is a good question.
Should Red split be considered a failure?
Yes.
There it is. Elaborate.
Yes.
Yes, it should.
No finals is definitely a failure, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think if you don't make finals, it's a failure. This team could feasibly have challenged for a spot at Swiss at Worlds. I genuinely stand by that.
Yeah.
And as a team
Which
of
is so
5,
tragic, man. Oh my gosh.
yeah, as a team of 5 Brazilians, this not just because of personal emotional investment in the scene, but if it was 5 Brazilians that made it to Worlds, that would have been huge for the CBLOL period.
Yeah.
And you know, maybe this is like slightly aside from the failings of the team, or like the so like my problem with it isn't that is slightly different from them failing in the CBLOL. It's like it's not that they failed their region, because that's just way too much pressure to put on a team going in, right? You should never have that expectation to begin with. But if they had made it to Worlds and been the 5 Brazilian representatives, it would have been a way cooler story to tell internationally, because I can already tell you that if it's Pain that go to Worlds, if it's Loud that goes to Worlds, specifically for Pain, I think it's going to be the Koreans that carry Brazil. For Loud, I do think there's a discussion for it to not be that, because Croc and Root are less volatile, but they're more consistent, and it does come off of Robo. So there's definitely going to be like the Brazil factor of Loud. I don't know that exists with Pain when they go international. Red, if it's 5 Brazilians, it's just there.
Yeah, definitely not to the same degree.
I think
that's a
I
different
said
discussion,
this
but yeah.
at some point that I wanted to see Red go, because assuming they win, they must have gotten good enough that they would be able to challenge at Worlds. Because if they don't get good enough, they will never make Worlds, because they will lose to Pain or whatever. And they did, because they couldn't get there in time. So if they'd gotten there, they'd be a contender for Swiss for sure. With the power that they have. So that would have been ideal. And I think I said before, Red Loud, I think would be more what I would expect would be a more interesting finals. But like I said as well, want them to keep the roster together. Give them another split, and they could just be there. You know, they're so strong.
Yeah, all of the contracts except for Aegis and Titan, or actually, Aegis and Titan are the only 2 contracts that end in 2025. Everyone else is 2024. Coaching staff 2023.
So they've feasibly got another year, right? If nobody buys out contracts, they have a full year together still.
Could be, yeah. Those contracts are expensive, so.
Yeah.
Possible coaching change, which, given the fact that the problems were not solved over the course of a full split, that not even slightly, really, the problems were not solved. There's an argument for a coaching change.
I like this. I like this argument that it's not even an argument you're making. It's just like an implication that the problem with Red was with the coaching staff. Because like, how do you as a coach tell FNB and Titan they have to like clean up their act or whatever? I just can't imagine me being like, Titan, come on, dial in, dude. We
like,
I mean,
dive
you
that.
guys saw
Don't dive that.
You guys saw the clip I put in of the mic check where they beat INTZ in that second round robin, and Titan just loses his goddamn mind in the mic and just started talking immense amounts of smack. Like, wow!
Was that
goodness.
the Nosferus one, or was it a different one?
That was in the second round robin. I put it in socialization, but I spammed that channel, so understandable if you guys don't check that all the time. That's completely understandable. But he was like when they beat INTZ, they were like, oh, because Nosferus had gone on the Ilha das Lendas program, their kind of post game program, and been like, he had talked some smack about Loud or about Red. He'd been like, yeah, you know, their mid game, whatever, like all pretty justifiable criticism. But I think like, you know, Nosferus, even like in his like they have this like pro x pro thing where like they talk smack to each other, and Nosferus is like, was like, hey Titan, I want to know like what you're gonna say when, you know, when humility and and the power of friendship beats beats kind of the super team. And Titan was like, yeah, the minute that happens, like, we'll see, but for now, he's just
Yeah,
so arrogant. It's so funny.
he was like, the minute that humility and friendship beat talent and hard work, call me or something.
Yeah.
It was actually quite a fire response by Titan.
A hard
It's
bar.
like,
Yeah, it was.
yeah, it was really solid.
Yeah, and then but he was just like screaming. He's like, you guys think you guys get a bit of wind under your wings? You think you guys are talking smack? And then A just pipes in. He's like, yeah, you gotta go back to 9th place where you belong. And like Titan is like
Yeah.
slinging F words and like, lose, you horrible motherfuckers. Like, he just awful obscenities. It's unbelievable that we not only that they do that, but that we have access to that and
Coaching
they put it on
staff
the
was
internet.
the problem. That's true.
Yeah. Coach is the problem. Coach is the problem.
Like,
Change nobody on this roster, please. I need them in my life.
My goodness. It's a content machine. They're so good, dude.
Mhm.
Oh, all right. So so Red, I think I would keep it together as well. Like I said, if anyone, you swap out Frosty, but
No, it's too early to swap Frosty. You
No,
can't
like,
bring
I
up the
agree,
rookie
but I
support
think
for 6 months and then be like, L.
yeah,
I
no,
think
I
I
agree.
think if we swap Frosty, then we're swapping just to swap, and I don't
Yeah,
know why.
and
Quite
It's either
possibly,
the whole roster blows up or it stays together for me.
if I had it my way, I would agree. I think run it back, and I think if nothing else, like again, if you want to, and I'm not even sure they're kind of pushing this narrative because it doesn't feel like what they've done. Like if you're pushing this kind of, oh, we're going to be 5 Brazilians and we're going to like, we're not going to rely on imports or whatever. I think the other half of that coin is like developing domestic talent, right? Let Frosty, like, okay, you kind of threw him into this fire on, into the fire on the super team, right? And there was the controversy he had to overcome, even signing for this, which we won't get into, but like, that would be an incredible story, right? And even if the roster does blow up at the end of 2024, Frosty's going to get a bag somewhere. I would love to see him keep improving and keep, going on this rise. Him and Pro Delta are kind of the, I think their story is going to be really interesting to watch because they have this interesting case of, are you just a good play? Like, do you just look good because of your team? And I think that's some of it for sure. But
I felt that for Frosty. I think.
Yeah.
He's been in an acceptably good support.
Mhm.
Outside of that, he's not stood out. He's not stood out of the support pool for me. Did to begin with. I think him on Rakan is like a slightly different conversation in a good way, but outside of that, he's by no means been standout support for me.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with you. All right, INTZ. If you had it your way, you keep this roster together. I think for me, it's an unequivocal yes.
I say no.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Most
say
of
no.
them.
Okay. I thought this one would be more of a consensus than Red. These are I got opposite reactions on both of these. I'm very excited to hear your reasoning. We'll start with you, Rood.
So they've had is this second or third split together at this point, right? So they've had the time together. I think
this is their second split.
Okay.
Yeah.
As a full unit. Unfortunately, the Nosferus for me seems like the point to change. If I'm going into off season, I'm gonna have a look for mid laners. I don't think it's essential. I'm having a little shop around, see if I can bag myself a different mid laner. I'm also seeing
If Luxu gets tired of house.
Probably.
I don't know if that. Well, does that help them? I don't know.
I
know what
do
they
think
need,
so.
right? I don't know what they need in this roster.
I would also, and people might shoot me down for this. I think Ninja Kiwi is a bottom half AD carry in the league.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's an opportunity to bag a top half AD carry,
Yeah,
yeah,
I think so too.
So many.
And this is where everyone went over to their other monitor on Leaguepedia and we're like, can I name 5 AD carries better than him?
Titan, Brunsey, Root.
Titan, Brunsey, Root, B-Boy.
B-Boy, yeah, obviously.
So it's Natuno or him in the fifth
Natuno.
spot.
I would also
No
put a
one
bit of a
else.
Trigo argue in there. I'm
no,
gonna be honest.
Raven.
No.
I would
is
put
in there.
Trigo started performing in the back half of the split. And
he
we've
started
seen it from him
performing.
before.
That's good. Just in time.
Ninja Q is 8th. 8th place.
No,
Ninja
I'm not
Kiwi.
saying he's 8th, but I'm saying there's a conversation that he's not top half. And I do think if you can snipe a top half AD carry, that's cool. Ninja Kiwi has been the eternal potential player, and at some point we just have to go, maybe this is actually just his ceiling. And yeah, I it's either that or stick him on Pain and see if he's the best AD carry in the league.
So
God knows what Pain's gonna look like next split.
Yeah. Yeah.
What about
Trajan.
Pain Gaming Ninja Kiwi? What just as a concept?
I think the Pain fans would.
I
I think they would
think
like it, but only if they like fully understood that there was no other option in keeping B-Boy. Because I think imports it's a little volatile. Because I feel like no matter how riled up the Pain fans get, B-Boy seems like he has caught the least amount of ire
Mm-hmm.
from them, from what the temperature I've taken online. And if the B-Boy situation was unsalvageable, if they just said, punt this roster into the sun, I think that would be really cool. I think Pain would embrace Ninja Kiwi. I think they'd embrace the shit
Yeah.
out of him.
I feel like there's a conversation for B-Boy just going like, all right, I've spent enough time around the world. I need to go
Yeah.
home. I need to
This is a
I
second
need
go
to
around
leave
CBLOL.
Brazil.
He's been in LATAM, Europe,
Yeah. Or
Brazil.
I've got to finish the Infinity Stones. Let me join NRG, or
Yeah.
maybe not the NRG first, NA first seed, but
Yeah.
like
The Wildcats,
you know,
Istanbul.
yeah. Well, he's
Yeah.
not joining an ERL. I surely hope not.
Yeah, that would be tough for
Yeah.
B-Boy. I don't think he deserves that.
Yeah,
If
but
the
like
money's
maybe,
right.
maybe he does just complete his little gauntlet and goes to NA. But like I do
Yeah.
think there's a real discussion
Introducing
for him to not leave
IMT
Brazil.
B-Boy.
Oh God, don't do him like that either.
That'd be
So-
exactly where he would land. God
Yeah,
damn.
you're not wrong. And he just
Trajan.
flop.
I don't know that Natuno has been better than Ninja Kiwi this split. I think we think that he is. And looking from last split, I would have said that he was, but I don't think he's done any more. And I think his team, didn't really necessarily give him the best environment to show that. And I don't think Ninja Kiwi's in a different position. I think he has a massive carry in top lane that's always gonna get more. I think Nosferus also plays like LeBlanc mid every other game, and also is gonna be doing a lot more. And Ninja Kiwi is playing Sivir half the time and just playing like Xayah, and he's just not really put in a position to have to solo carry games or to play like that. He chooses not to, I believe, because he can do it. He can play like that. I just think he doesn't have to, and then doesn't. And then occasionally we get the Xayah carries and we get the Kai'Sa carries, and I think that him and Natuno this split, I find it hard to split them for fifth. I don't think Pain drops B-Boy though. I think now, if Pain had got out in like fourth, I think yeah. But I think B-Boy just again fulfills what they need him to do, and they wouldn't swap him for that reason unless he leaves of his own volition.
Just off of it, off of this conversation, I got really high on the Pain Gaming Kiwi idea. It's not going to happen, but it's made me really excited because I've kind of like I still want to stand by the point that he's probably not a top half AD carry, but I also want to echo that it's probably because of the points you just made, where he's not being given the opportunity to look like top 5. So
yeah, we had a previous discussion on this that was about Natuno, and we were talking about Pain Natuno. We were all just like, any AD carry who needs a home and a place to shine, go Pain fast, and B-Boy can just I don't know leave. So, but
and then Pain just pull in any
any
import.
Yeah.
Axeman, your thoughts on the INTZ's season? Letter grade. Would you keep the roster together?
Yeah, because Axeman was also changed something. He was on
my
my side.
Like this podcast started, and I just fully lost my voice. I have no idea what happened. Somebody like cursed me or something. Anyway, I don't sound good. Excuse me. I think B-Boy might just end up going home. He's an import. They have like a shelf life, and sometimes they just go home. I don't know why any other reason for Payne to get rid of B-Boy. He's the best performing player in the regular split. He has the best stats on everything. So, about INTZ, yeah, I think they blow up the roster there. My issue isn't that the roster isn't performing or that INTZ is going to want to bust it up. I just think they have too many valuable parts, right? You have a bunch of like bigger, hungrier orgs that all also had issues. Like, say Payne loses in 3-0 here to Loud, they're going to have a bunch of money and like a roster that just isn't performing. Nothing's working for them. And they're going to look down at the table, and INTZ just has the best parts, right? They're going to buy something off of this one. But also newer orgs that look like they're interested in investing in CBLOL that tried to buy up parts and put them together. So like Los Grandes and Fluxu, they're going to look at INTZ and be like, oh, okay, these are the parts we need to put together the roster. We messed up the last split. Now we're going to have ZZK and Nosferus or whatever, and we're going to put that together. Yeah, they're going to get pillaged.
Karaoke and Pro Delta are the only 2 players that have contracts that extend past this year for Pain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all 3 carry roles are up for the good old Yeeter onus.
Personally, I could run back INTZ. I don't hate it. They were
I
so
like
they were
that idea
seventh.
more, actually.
They were seventh last split, right? And they were fourth this split.
Like a
So
good
that's
non-fluky fourth.
That's first next split in my eyes.
yeah. So for me, that's good growth. And they talked about the power of friendship and faith, trust, and pixie dust or whatever.
Yeah.
That's cool. If they want to keep it together and run it back, I think they definitely can. I don't think INTZ can afford to keep this roster together.
I have
I'm a
no
much
idea
bigger
how
fan of
what INTZ can
the
afford to do. Honestly, it's hard to tell.
business
Literally
standpoint instead.
I'm looking at the GCD on my other monitor. Everyone, academy starting roster, all 10 players, every coach, the goddamn astronaut mascot for all I know. Contracts expire November 20th,
Let's go into
2023.
space station.
Oh, she knows.
Yeah. Everyone. That's
You hold out,
interesting.
she. Please
You
hold on to
gotta
Alshi,
keep
He's
Alshi.
coach of the
Like,
he's
Oh,
coach of the
man.
CBLOL English, I think. I don't know about coach
Yeah,
of the
he
split,
is,
but he's
he
definitely.
is.
Honestly,
He's-
he's probably coach of the split as well.
He has
But
the
he's,
best
he's coach of the
one-liners.
I feel like
CBLOL English, that's for sure.
The coach of the split award usually goes to, because I mean in traditional sports you see this all the time too, because you don't have that kind of backstage access. But
it just
it's
goes
like
to whoever wins. Like,
it's almost like the overperformance award. It's like who's responsible for getting more out of the players, getting the players to be the sum of their parts. In theory, that's the coach. And
Yeah.
INTZ overshot expectations like crazy, and
Yeah.
you got to
Yeah.
give credit to. I think
Yep.
his stock has gone through the moon this split. He's going to get a bag no matter where he goes next split, and I will be
Yeah.
rooting for him wholeheartedly. He's also
Alshi
massive.
to Red. Fix
Wow.
the
Oh, Alshi
team.
to Red could be really cool, actually.
It's a
Dude,
coach
that
diff.
would be
Alshi
interesting.
to Red.
Could you imagine he just makes he makes it so that Titan goes and shakes people's hands after games and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
No.
He
Right.
has like a comb over, and he's wearing like a little tie, and he's just like
We send
properly
Titan to
filed down.
C9 for the C9 Reformation program.
Yeah.
Oh, she neuters the wild dogs and they win CBLOL.
They do like a loan transfer, like in football, and then Berserker comes and joins Red for a split, and then C9 gets
Oh, yeah.
Titan, and then they swap back, and Berserker's an absolute lunatic, and then Titan's all cleaned up.
Berserker goes to NA, bombs, and then Titan comes back.
Completely ruined.
It's just the best player in the league. Oh,
Yeah.
that's the world.
So,
We'll message Jack. We'll see what we can work up.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
see. We'll get it together. I mean, they
Yeah,
were willing to partner with Dusty from Iceland. They can probably do something with Red, So with INTZ, I would keep them
there's your
together.
NLC deep cut for the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they've all shown marked improvement over a split, and there's just you have to know what is going on the teams above them and around them to know what's possible, because a lot of those teams could keep locked down depending on what their results are, and then I don't think there's anything better for INTZ to do than keep these 5 players and keep trying to improve. If Red stays together,
take the money and
Loud
run.
stays together.
Oh,
mean,
sorry. A better
I
thing to do would
suppose.
be to sell all the contracts, take the money, and run. Wait, what are we talking about here?
Well, INTZ
No.
can't get away with
If
that.
if
They're all free
INTZ
agents,
sell,
so
They're
if
all-
INTZ, they're all free agents. Oh well, never mind.
Their
Literally everyone's
contracts are all
contract.
ending. So
Don't worry
yeah,
about
I
it,
just
though.
don't think there's better people that upgrade this roster. I'm pretty high on Nosferus as well. I think I'm particularly high on him and the growth that he's shown, and I feel like you hold on to him and Ninja Kiwi as a core for
At all
next split,
costs.
maybe Ampy as well. Yeah, and I like what Nia has been doing, and I like what ZZK has been doing, but I don't. For me, I feel like ZZK feels like a player with a harder ceiling than Nosferus does, just because of what we've seen, and it might
harder.
just be what we've seen.
What do you mean by harder ceiling?
Like
lower or higher?
he's less high. He's less likely to improve, less likely to push what the peak that we've seen right now.
Okay.
His peak is pretty
To
high,
push even further beyond.
but I think there's room for Nosferus and Ninja Kiwi to become even better at standing in their roles, and I just don't know if ZZK is gonna be a different player than he already is.
I think Ninja.
know,
I think ZZK as well could thrive on a different roster as well.
Yeah.
After this split, I really think he could take one of our really good teams and make them really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
Nosferus has a regular season championship. 2020 Split 1. Vivo Cade. This roster,
What?
ready? This is a goddamn Mad Lib. Robo, Grell, Nosferus, Klaus, Professor, coaches, Turtle, and Belzy.
What?
Grell had played. Wow, that's insane. Actually,
They got
That's
first place in
wild.
regular season and then got third in playoffs. That was
Ah,
okay.
that was
Right.
that was
Okay.
the
Because I was
COVID,
like,
COVID split.
he's not one something, is it? Yeah. Sure. That's wild.
Robo Grell Nosferis. What the hell?
That's
Incredible.
a top play. That's a top side for the ages.
Yeah, a
That-
topside duo that is certainly gonna
That is
Grell
a-
affect
Robo
the
is
game.
definitely yeah.
That is a roster.
They're definitely
Yeah.
first or 10th in regular season. There is no
Yeah.
between.
Yeah. Yeah.
What
All right.
do we have time to do a theory craft on just the potentially most volatile roster that we could put together from CBLOL players?
It's the most
Yeah,
nightmare
sure.
5
The
men.
most nightmare fuel for casters, where it's like we could see the best team in the world.
Imagine trying to analyze it. Yeah.
Yeah,
There's no
I think
point.
Robo Grell,
Robo Grell.
Titan
Yeah.
is your
Titan.
AD.
Yep.
Yeah.
Conversation to put Nia in at support for
He's-
the 015.
He's got an int burger in him.
The 015 did not feel like his fault massively, I'll be
No,
honest. I feel like
Whoa, what?
And
I
it's
kind of felt
also
like his fault.
at a
in-
certain point, you're 0-10. You're kind of like,
I have to get this
Wow.
ward down. Like
what's the worst that can happen? You know, like
if I
the
get this
ship's
ward down,
already
I
sailed.
die. If I don't get this ward down, I die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I die, but I
Yeah.
don't see what killed me.
That was a moo right?
Maybe AC jungle?
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh no, Grail jungle.
it's
yeah.
Grell. It's
Yeah,
Grell.
Grell,
AC's a good runner up though. Who's the mid
But-
laner? Why can we not flame
I-
any mid laners?
Well,
This
it
is
might
weird.
actually end up being House after
House?
this playoffs, which makes
I
me
think it's
House,
very
yeah.
sad. I don't want it to
Yeah.
be House,
I think
but I
it's
don't know
House.
if there's a better option.
Lava?
Like what? Like, is he's really consistent.
Eh.
He's really consistently valuable. He's consistently boring out of lane, but he's like
Okay.
super consistent in lane.
Okay, for support, would you rather have Nia, Jojo, Zai, Ranger?
Zai. It has to be Zai. No,
maybe
no.
Zai.
Zai
He's
is
gonna play
100%.
Pike,
I love
and then he's just
Zai.
gonna completely sprint it or not.
You,
so
you saved it with that Zai call. So who
First-
do we...
yeah,
is
Zai
the first
Titan
team-
bot lane is so horrendous, dude. That is like.
That is
Robo,
fi-
Grell,
5-0
House.
or 0-5 at 15 minutes.
They're gonna be
Yeah.
screaming at each other, not their opponents, just like over their own plays.
And they're all Brazilians, so they can all yell at each other in
Yeah.
Portuguese. The
Think
conflict
of
would
the
be insane.
triangle, Titan. Think of the triangle.
We need this roster.
Yeah, so it's Robo, first team all chaos. Robo, Grell, House,
House
Titan.
and
Zai.
Zai.
Hell
Oof.
yeah.
Oh,
That's a
that's
third place roster if I've ever heard one.
Where
That
does
team-
this
that
roster
team
rank in
wins
the current
Worlds.
CBLOL?
I think that roster
one out of
gets-
10 times.
I think that
Ninth.
roster gets fourth or third.
9th. That goes 9th.
It just completely implodes. Well, because
Liberty
they
beats
they
that
would,
roster.
I think they get like 6th regular season because Robo doesn't perform in regular
Yeah,
season.
and then they
so they
come
have
at
no
least
top
finals.
side at all. And like
And then they win two. They win 2 5-game barn burners and then
Yeah.
lose in 5.
Yeah.
yeah.
So third. That makes sense.
Third.
Yep, they're third
Alright.
overall.
Glad we could solve that one. Nice
Yeah.
little mini game. I think all chaos CBLOL should be a new award we do for
Yeah.
future splits because
Yeah, we
that
do
is
an all pro
CBLOL
and all
incarnate.
chaos. Yeah.
All right, wrapping it up here. Who do we want? We'll do kind of a on next week's episode. We'll do a bit more of a breakdown. This is more past looking and a little bit of future speculation. Who would you want? This is what we got in the rundown here. We'll do. Who would you want to go to Worlds? Pain
This
or
is
Loud?
Not even close for me. I want to gauge everybody's like temperature on how difficult this discussion is before we have it. You know.
Over the past few weeks, it has gotten more difficult for me.
I'll
Surely
start.
if it Oh, go ahead, Axe. Yeah.
Ooh, sorry.
Wait. So I don't
yeah.
no predictions for like don't say the team yet, but say how easily you came to this decision.
So the question is just who I want to win, right?
Or who would you
who
rather
do you
be?
want to
who-
send to Worlds? Not to win, not for like
Who would I-
personal player
who would I-
narratives. Who would you want to send to Worlds as someone who wants to see the CBLOL representative do well?
Oh, okay. Well, I won't.
It's
start
not an
then.
easy call for me. It's not an easy call
It's
for
hard.
me.
This is difficult for me. Yeah, and it got more
I thi-
difficult. I was very Loud favored, and it got more difficult for me.
Huh?
I think yeah, so I think if it's an easy decision, then surely it's Loud, right? If you think it's obvious.
I
Yeah,
think
no?
it's Pain. Every
You
day
wanna
of the
send
week.
Pain?
I 100% want to send Pain.
Yeah.
Oh, with all of my bones, I would want to send Pain to the World Championships.
Yeah.
All 200 bones.
I think and this is going to be the most anti-Roodood take that you've ever heard.
Wow.
This is
But
why we couldn't get
Gotcha.
it. Yeah.
Character
the
development.
the consistency, I think, is actually going to do them better than the volatility of Loud. I think
I think that is the angle, though.
Payne's floor is actually high enough to be able to compete with some teams at Worlds. Like if they have a 6, 7 out of 10 game, they can probably beat a couple of the minor regions quite easily. If they play a 10, I think they can beat fourth seeds from major regions. If they play really well, I have that in them. Loud, again, I think if they have a 6 out of 10 game, they can get beat by any team any team at Worlds.
Yeah.
And if they have a 10 out of 10 game, maybe they can take a third seed team from a major region. Like maybe, I don't know, maybe they can beat like an XL or a Mad Lions or something. I don't know, whoever they're going to send, right? Like,
Your DFM.
DFM gets cleaned out by a 6 out of 10 game by Pain.
DFM.
yes, DFM does
DFM
get
gets absolutely washed. They even have a top laner. Like, what's gonna happen?
Didn't Utapon swap up the top?
Yes.
Incredible.
And their sub AD carry is playing. So
shout out Utapon. The guy's the
Shout out
Yeah.
Utapon.
yeah, for doing what must be done.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Praise must be.
But I would much rather send Pain than Loud at this point, and that's that is as a to see Brazil compete, to see Brazil be Brazil. 100% we send Loud, but to see Brazil compete, I think it's Pain, and it's not close for me at all. Which is why I'm so confused. Why you're all like, this is difficult.
I'm trying to work out. It depends on if Loud is going to be different in any way, or if they're going to be the same, then I don't care. I don't want to see them do the same thing because I don't think it's good enough. But if they can do something different and better than last time, they weren't far off where they needed to be to at least qualify for the main stage. So I think Pain, floor is way higher. I think that like they are an easy favorite against like minor regions, generally speaking. And then Loud is like they should probably win this, but they might also just not for no reason. So I don't know if top level Pain can outmaneuver good teams from other regions. Basically, they can definitely outmaneuver every other Brazilian team. But I don't know if they can outmaneuver third and second seeds. That's like the question in my head is how much do I think their like strategy and game plan is on par with better regions to give themselves like a chance to even play the game properly. I'm just not sure.
I think for me it's that floor ceiling thing that you said, Roodood, is that I think Pain has the higher floor, Loud has the higher ceiling. I think I'm interested to and again, amateur psychology time. Pain, are they like if Loud go again, is it just like, could it be a little bit of kind of fatigue on their end? Like, look, we just kind of keep winning, we keep going to these international events. Like maybe we don't feel like we have as much to prove. Or maybe with Pain, are they so mentally exhausted after finally getting over the Loud hump that like they can't kind of,
that is not an excuse for me because they have
it's
2
not,
months. They have so long before they have to play any Worlds games.
I agree.
They have an
And
entire
it could
team
go,
of like
it could go the
background staff.
complete other way, where like they get over the hump and they're like, look, this is probably it for this roster regardless. We are the team of destiny. Let's just go balls to the wall. I think it could be a benefit as much as a detraction. I just don't know.
I think they become we have beaten our demons. We are now mental
we are
fortress.
now the anime protagonist.
Yeah, we go forward and we don't care about who we face now because we finally got the Loud monkey off our back.
And if that is it, I think that would be so cool. And I think we were talking about this on the previous episode. Someone brought it up, like, don't send Loud because you want more players to get international experience. If you keep sending the same 5 guys, then you are in theory limiting the growth of the scene because fewer people are getting international exposure.
Yeah, that was gonna be my point as well. Is that like, as an NA based caster who does the CBLOL English broadcast, I frequently find myself not necessarily defending, but trying to like explain the Brazilian place in International League of Legends. And it's not great, right? I mean, we don't make it out of plans. Obviously, it's not super good, but also just like defending our legitimacy as a region, it's super tough if you send the same team to international competitions
Actually true.
every
Then
competition
you
three
just become
times in a row.
PCS.
Because at some point you're like, okay, what is this? Just a DFM situation where there's no
Yeah.
other good teams and it's just like a nothing region where nothing's ever gonna happen. And I guess Utapon, whatever. Like I don't want Robo to be Utapon, dude. Like I don't want like I love Robo. I think he's great, but I want this region to be good and competitive. And that was our narrative going through the entire split because there was so much back and forth between top teams. It looked like it was so close. And now here at
Yeah.
the end, if it's just loud 3-0 again, then what was the point? What am I actually telling NA casters when I talk to them about CBLOL? Is it a lie that I'm telling them? Is it all just
Yeah.
loud? Is that all the region
Because
is?
you can honestly say, no, there was a ton of parity this split. Anyone could have won it right up until the point where no one but Loud could have
And
won.
then loud
Yeah.
3-0s again, and it was just never
Yeah.
close. Yeah,
Yeah. You just have
I
to take.
think I
They
do
just have
want
to
to
take your
send
word for it.
Pain.
That's tough. Yeah.
If for no other reason than like I just want this region to be competitive so badly with itself. And I
Yeah.
don't like even necessarily need to believe in Pain being able to perform at an international level. I just need somebody else to make it up there so that, maybe we're a little bit
Yeah.
more competitive. But
This
yeah,
is,
I
this
don't
is why
know.
Red would have been the best team to send, because you get maximum Brazilian exposure,
Yeah.
lots of names, some of them that people know already as well. Like it would have just been perfect, and they can all get some useful data there. But I think maybe then it is Pain, I guess, is the answer, because
Yeah.
once again to fall back on the Red argument I used before, if they make it to Worlds, then they must have beaten Loud, and now they're ready, right?
Mm.
Currently, where they're 0-12 versus Loud, they're not ready. But if they beat
Mhm.
Loud, then they are. That's
This
the
is
decider
Pain,
for me.
yeah.
So after the grand final, and if they win, I would say now I do want them to go. Yes. If they lose, then I go, well, no, I didn't want them to go because they literally can't beat this team ever. So
That is the last piece
there's
of
just
evidence, one way or the other.
exactly. So I
That's
think it would be
fair.
Pain, and I think it's a more
For
interesting result.
I want to add some
You
like
have convinced me, Rude.
we all
Yeah.
want to send
Also,
Pain.
yeah, I want to send Pain. Just I made like an offhand DFM shot, but I was looking through the plans bracket again. I apologize for my voice from last year.
Yeah.
And the format is different this year. So last year, even if we had beaten DFM in a best of 5, we would have gotten knocked out by RNG anyway. But the format is different this year. There isn't an LPL or an
No
LCK
Eastern
representative
Yeah.
in the
Okay.
play-ins, so there isn't like this looming scythe hanging over our
Yeah.
necks the
Yeah.
whole tournament. It
Yeah.
is literally if the bracket played out the same way as it did last year, and there's no guarantee it does. All we have to do is beat an EU or an NA team like we did last year. Beat Fnatic in a best of 1, and then we have to
There are no
beat,
best of ones, I don't think.
and then we have to beat DFM later
It's
down
gonna
the
be best of
line
3, I guess.
to get out of play-ins, which I think is like way
Yeah.
more doable, right? And
Mhm.
I
Oh yeah,
think
no,
Yeah,
Pain
we
can do that.
literally
Play-in
did.
format
We
is
beat
so
Fnatic in
much
a best of 1 last Worlds.
Yeah.
Loud beat it, and that's when everyone was like, "Oh shoot, Loud."
That was
Brazil is
literally the
real,
bot. That was
you know?
literally the bot gap game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And at
It's about
MSI
game.
as well, the best of 3 we played versus G2 was a mega close game 1 into Broken
Yeah.
Blade being the best Darius in the West, and then we all just
Yeah.
kind of flopped. But
Yeah,
Yeah.
and mega close game 1 where Croc forgot to buy jungle item,
yeah,
and then
again,
set himself
somehow.
behind in the game. Whoops.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So
and we also
Yeah.
like in that same world, Loud dropped the random best of 1 to like Beyond Gaming. So I don't want to paint it up like this is like spoken for or anything like that. But
Mhm.
we've never been far off from qualifying for Worlds as a region,
mhm.
and I think Pain can do it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the small part of me wants Croc and Robo to get another shot to try and do a better job than they did last time,
Yeah.
but ultimately I don't have a lot of faith that would happen. Like, it depends what kind of Robo shows up, as it always does with any Loud game. It depends what Robo shows up, but there's just no margin of error. You need 10 out of 10 Robo to have a shot here. I
Yeah,
think to
it
make
has to be Hobbs Day every day. Yeah.
to make Swiss, and I just don't know if that's gonna happen. So
All
Pain
right.
for
So with all that being
competitiveness.
said, Dito Isu, what's your prediction for the
Yes.
grand final? And then we'll get out of here.
Loud 3-0. Bye. See ya.
No,
All
it is
right.
Loud 3-0. Yeah. Sorry,
Cool.
you asked who I wanted to win. It's Pain, but it's Loud 3-0.
Yeah.
It just
No,
always
but
is.
these are
It's
two different
12-0.
questions. Yeah. No, and
It's
that
the
and that is
12-0 for
why
sure.
I wanted to juxtapose these two, and I think, well, rather, I guess Trajan juxtaposed these two. So good job, Trajan, in the rundown.
Yeah.
It is a curse. They are cursed. I don't know how else to describe it. Yeah, it's just gonna be a 12-0.
3-2 Loud.
All right.
3-2.
I think they get games. I don't think they break. I think Loud actually three-peat. They've got a three-peat in my eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
they
Loud
do.
3-1. I think Payne will get a game off him. I think Loud will go up 2-0.
Disappointing.
I think Payne will go up 2-0. Loud will go up 2-0. Payne will get game 3, and Loud will take game 4. I do not want that to happen, but
Yeah,
I think
no.
that's what's going to happen, unfortunately.
That'd be really
I'm
lame.
keeping the Loud 3-0.
All right. And with that, thank you guys so much for tuning in. This has been Gringos Liberados. We will have I think, ideally a different 4 on for the grand finals preview. Maybe not, though.
Oh,
I want to
Yeah,
get,
this 4 sucks.
Rudy,
Damn.
were you gonna-
What we should do, if people have questions, please comment them below. We'll put out a Twitter post as
Yeah.
well just before. Like questions for us about anything. We can do a Q&A on the back of next episode. 'Cause, like, next episode is going to be the finals deep dive, which I don't think takes an hour. I'm going to be frank.
No, a Loud 3-0 does not take very long to talk about.
No,
God
we're gonna be
damn.
like, yeah,
happened
Robo
again.
just ran those kids.
So like we have 2 episodes left, right? If we have next week's, which is like a look forward to the final, and then
Mhm.
maybe one afterwards, which is like a look
Mhm.
afterwards. People have questions for us.
Yeah.
This is the time to ask because we are going to be slightly struggling for pieces to talk about through the episode. So if we do a Twitter question section,
Yeah.
mwah.
Yeah.
Good idea, Rude. All right. This has been Gringos Liberados for myself, 4x4, for Roodood, for Axeman, for Trajan. Thank y'all for watching, for listening. 5 stars, comments, etc. Throw in those questions. Give us a subscribe on Spotify and podcast platform of your choice. And
And any engagements.
we'll see you back here real soon. Bye, everybody.